I'm going to quickly go through this. It has to do with singer David Adeleke and one of his baby mama, SOFIA, MOMODU, and their daughter, Imade. Now, the man there is DELE MOMODU. Now, he wrote this. Davido's dad offered to give SOFIA and Imade one of his family apartments in VI, but she turned it down because she said she can't be living in a house filled with Davido's family. Remember, SOFIA never instigated the court action. She is only seeking to protect Imade and ensure that there is a structured, safe, and sustainable manner in which father Davido and child Imade can engage with each other. The rhetoric in the media should be avoided by all means because it's going to leave a traumatic effect on Imade. Sofia's uncle, DELE MOMODU, speaks out. I'm going to go to the nitty-gritty of what's happening. Now, Davido recently concluded his wedding. He made sure that assurance that was becoming endurance eventually became assure, endure, and finally became assurance. A lot of people applauded him for what he did. Like, wow, man, you really took the bull by the horn. There are people who are skeptic about this marriage, not because they believe that David Adeleke does not, necessarily want to get married, but they believe that Davido will continue with what he does. Now, that's not our business. The issue on ground is this. Imade has to be with SOFIA. Why? You'll be finding out about this. So, DELE MOMODU continued. He wrote this. My candid opinion on David Adeleke versus SOFIA MOMODU. Last night, I received a distressing message from Mr. David Adeleke, aka Davido. He was obviously devastated by the counter affidavit submitted in court earlier in the day. In response to his affidavit seeking a joint custody of his daughter with my niece, SOFIA MOMODU. I had seen David's affidavit about 2 weeks ago, and I was very surprised as David and I had spoken on a video call days earlier with him and Pastor Toby Adegboyega. You all know Pastor Toby Adegboyega of the United Kingdom, the flashy, designer, dripping pastor, Spark Nation. Now, the one that the footballer claimed that his wife, pastor, and all of that. So, let's proceed since we are not talking about them. And he never told me he had any custody issues with my niece. So, you can imagine my confusion to find out via social media and subsequently confirmed by my niece that he had filed an action in court seeking joint custody of their daughter. During the reference video call, we were all very excited about his forthcoming wedding ceremony, an event our family congratulated him about. Prior to this, David had told me he eventually spoke to their daughter after a long lull of about 2 years. He was very excited, so I thought everything was settled and he and SOFIA would now have the opportunity of taking maximum care of their daughter. I had offered special thanks to David's dad, Dr. Adedeji Adeleke, for his kindness and support for our daughter during the period of David's absence. I had also taken SOFIA and their daughter to my very dear friend, Governor Ademola Adeleke, seeking his intervention. To the best of my knowledge, there was never a problem of joint custody. The issues were non-payment of school fees for several sessions, non-payment of accommodation and salaries of a nanny. There was no card dedicated to David's daughter, and so on. Mercifully, I mentioned all to Dr. Adedeji Adeleke, and he responded positively. Like a true grandfather, on the issue of non-payment of school fees, David's dad cleared everything and also set up payment of future bills. He gave his granddaughter a car to take her to school. The remaining issue was on accommodation. David's dad verbally offered in his discussions with me one of their family apartments in Oniru. David's dad verbally offered this. Now, I'm going to pause here. We've all heard that Davido bought a house that is worth all of the millions in this world and gave it to Sophia. People say, Davido, you try, yo. Are you now getting to hear what is happening? That Davido is not spending, although he's doing his best. There are some other very terrible people. But Davido shacked his responsibility. Now, if you want to know, I will tell you. According to Sophia, Davido shacked his responsibility because he needed to continuously bench Sophia. He wants to be in Sophia every now and then because Sophia has not moved on. Meaning Sophia is not married. Neither is Sophia showing us any visible relationship. You see? So probably she's still hoping, which I do not blame her for. People that are saying, she should have gone. No, it doesn't work like that. Now that Davido is married, it is glaring. And I think she took that step because it became glaring that Davido was not ready to marry. And Davido was also living somehow, it was this on and off with Chioma. But now they are married, so case closed. I think this is the reason why she decided to go all the way, because she now knows that the door to being married to Davido has been closed finally. You get it? Let's proceed. So, the house in Victoria Island. Now, maybe due to miscommunication, David's lawyer had communicated otherwise. After Sophia clarified from me, she politely declined the offer. And her reason was tenable in my view, because since she's not married to David, she can't be comfortable living in a place swarming with David's family members. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are the one, will you like such thing? She and her daughter have been living in Ikoyi before David and Sophia started their latest quarrels. Sophia's request was that David should pay half of the accommodation while she will pay the other half. David said he could only contribute 5 million naira annually. My opinion is that the absence of camaraderie between David and Sophia has caused this debacle. I have cautioned repeatedly that their daughter must not be allowed to suffer or be treated like a second-class child. Now, this carries weight. Second-class means if you are taking care of the other children in the US, doing all you must do for this one. Very important, regardless of if she's in Nigeria. I saw some comments. Some people say, they have to check the cost of living in Nigeria too. It can't be like that of the US. David brought the war to himself, and social media cannot help him. It is not possible. David's global status makes this imperative. Sophia allowed David access to their daughter, provided she has a nanny around 24/7. The 9-year-old herself made this request, and I believe this should be favorably considered and accepted. My grandniece has been released to go out with our cousins on several occasions. The governor's daughter, Nike, was at Sophia's house with the governor's grandson last Christmas Day, despite the fact that there wasn't ample notice, and she still granted access. You see? 2 months ago, the governor's son, Shinorambo, requested a play date between the kids and Sophia, rented out a children's place in Victoria Island for them to spend hours together. The only time she couldn't join her father's family was when her grandfather requested to go on vacation with her for 3 weeks last year, as the notice was too short and Sophia had already paid for their own trips due to lack of communication between the parents. The court yesterday referred the case for possible settlement by the Alternative Dispute Resolution ADR section of the court during settlement week, and I strongly advise that David and Sophia engage truly with the process as opposed to making harmful and irreversible statements on social media, which not only violate the law but the interests of their child. I have, in the past 9 years, tried my best to ensure amicable resolution of disputes and encourage both parents to have a proper structure put in place for the welfare of their daughter. It is important to note that Sophia did not instigate this court action and is only seeking to protect their daughter and ensure that there is a structured, safe and sustainable manner in which the father and child can engage with each other. The vitriolic rhetoric in the media should be avoided by all means, as this only further inflames what is already traumatic experience for all. parties involved, especially the child in question. This is from DELE MOMODU. I'll tell you guys for free. This is clear as daylight. As you all can hear, it is 5 million naira that David Adeleke wants to pay every year. 5 million naira. Now, to some that do not have the amount of money that Davido has in possession, you see, that would be like, what? 5 million? Even if my husband can give me 1 million per year, I am okay. It is 5 million. Don't forget that they live in the eyebrow part of Lagos. What do you expect? You want her to be jumping bike and taking tricycle? So these things are things that David Adeleke brought upon himself, and he has to deal with it. He has to deal with it. You can't give a house, if you are buying a house on your daughter's name. David Adeleke, if truly David has that money, if he can buy, then he should. It will be a different thing. Buy a house on your daughter's name and she can live in there. Simple as ABC. I don't know what you guys think of this. Because a lot of people say, what is wrong with this Sophia? Everything will be wrong with Sophia. I'm not making stories for her. I'm not trying to support her saying that she should do anyhow to David Adeleke. I'm not saying she should weaponize their daughter. No, I'm not saying weaponize. No, I'm just saying that as it is, 5 billion annually for, it's going to be tough. You get it? It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a very tough one. I don't know what you guys think, because a lot of people don't understand how these things are. They see you so rich and they believe you are so rich and that's it, forever you are rich. They don't know that you spend in millions. David Adeleke will keep spending that way, So it means that he's not spending in thousands. So it means that you have to have a lot of millions. Because do you guys understand what I'm saying? So it's a serious issue. It's a serious issue here. It's a serious issue that needs to be dealt with. And people expect you to spend. So David Adeleke needs to do the needful. Yes, I understand that this has gotten to this point. So it's good that it got to this point because the court will deal. The court will deal with how much Nani earns, how much that earns, that and that. Then they will structure it accordingly to what is tenable, to what is acceptable. And that will be the end of story. David will sign and that's it.